You say, what are you doing in the Ponderosa? He doesn't know where he is. It's 1,000 square miles. So why don't we say, listen, where are you from, St. Louis? Great. How about staying with us for a week?
Everyone saw Lorne Greene as the calm, commanding rock of Bonanza, the kind of man who never let anger take over. But behind that composed smile, he secretly carried a burning hatred for one person so strong he couldn't even stand to see their face again. Who could possibly make the legendary Greene lose his cool like that? Who dared to challenge the man who kept the Ponderosa alive for years on end? And what shocking betrayal could twist Hollywood's most grounded star into cutting someone off completely? You won't believe who pushed him that far. Number 1, John Wayne. Yep, the Duke himself. The biggest cowboy in movie history was at the top of Greene's secret hate list, and it all came down to one brutal moment that cut deeper than any punch or rumor. John Wayne didn't just insult him, he humiliated him in front of the entire industry with a single, ruthless line. It all went down in April 1966 at the Beverly Hills Hotel. The place was packed, cameras flashing, reporters shouting, and John Wayne commanding attention like a general walking through his army. Then a reporter threw out a question. Were TV westerns ruining the real Western movies? Wayne smirked, leaned toward the mic, and dropped a bomb that shook Greene's world. If you want the West without blood or guts, watch Bonanza. Boom! The crowd roared with laughter. One photographer yelled, "That's going on page 1 tonight." And sure enough, it did. The next morning, Greene found a pile of newspapers outside his dressing room at Paramount, every headline splashed with Wayne's words. A crew member later said Greene didn't yell or throw a fit. He just stood there, frozen, staring at the page like he'd been hit in the chest. Weeks later, the wound was ripped open again. At a fancy Beverly Hills charity banquet, in front of big-name producers, donors, and executives, Wayne swaggered up to Greene, smacked him on the back, and said loud enough for the whole room to hear, "TV cowboys have it easy, pal. Try real dust sometime." The crowd cracked up again, and Greene just smiled through it, even as his eyes dropped to the floor. Those close to him knew that smile was hiding real pain. The fallout hit hard and fast. Radio hosts started mocking Bonanza, calling it the clean cowboy show. Gossip columns ran brutal comparisons like Wayne is the West, Greene is the store-bought version. NBC tried to fix the damage by forcing Greene to give interviews defending Bonanza, but that only made things worse. Wayne never took back his words, never explained himself, and never once reached out. From that point on, their friendship was dead. Greene later admitted privately, "He made me feel like a guest in my own genre, and that sting never faded." Number 2, Clint Eastwood, the next name on Greene's silent blacklist, when the man who kicked off a whole new Cold War. Clint Eastwood took the second spot for reasons the public never even saw coming, and the moment that started it all would quietly change everything behind the scenes. Clint Eastwood didn't just offend Lorne Greene. He redefined what it meant to be a cowboy, right when Greene was still carrying the entire spirit of Bonanza on his back. It all started in late 1971, inside a packed press room, buzzing with reporters during the Dirty Harry promo tour. Someone brought up the old moral cowboys on TV, and everyone there knew exactly who that was a reference to: Ben Cartwright. Eastwood didn't dodge it, didn't even blink. He leaned forward, gave that cool half-smile he was famous for, and dropped a line that sliced through Greene's legacy like a knife. "Real cowboys don't preach, they survive." The room went silent for a split second, and then the scribbling started. When Greene later read that quote in print, he closed the magazine slowly, almost too slowly, like he was trying to contain something boiling inside. That was the spark, the moment Greene's quiet resentment toward Eastwood truly began. But Eastwood's jab wasn't just about a character. It hit the heart of everything Greene had defended for years. The Bonanza star stood for decency, family, and moral strength. And now Eastwood was telling the world that kind of cowboy didn't belong anymore. The real sting came months later at a Universal backlot party. Warm night, studio execs everywhere, everyone drinking and laughing. Someone casually asked Eastwood what he thought about the Cartwrights. Without missing a beat, he shrugged, looked off to the side with that trademark smirk, and said, "They're the polite West. I'm not." He didn't even raise his voice, but the dig landed hard. Greene's face barely changed, but those who knew him saw that tiny flicker, the drop in his eyes, the forced calm. The insult had hit home. The aftermath rolled in fast. Magazines started running headlines calling Eastwood the new frontier while dubbing Greene the sunset. Directors began saying audiences didn't want moral heroes anymore. They wanted grit, danger, and silence. Suddenly, the old Western values Greene had built his image on looked outdated. Younger fans weren't turning against him. They were just moving on, chasing Eastwood's colder version of the cowboy dream. And that shift crushed Greene quietly. He never confronted Eastwood, never threw shade in public, but behind closed doors, he told close friends what he really felt. He didn't attack me. He replaced the world I belonged to. That line said it all, and that wound never healed. Number 3, Michael Landon, the shocker that tore the Ponderosa right down the middle. Michael Landon, the son who turned into Greene's toughest creative rival. Nobody saw it coming. Their tension exploded the moment Landon decided Bonanza didn't need Lorne Greene at the center anymore. It began back in 1966, while Greene was still running the show like a tight ship. Meanwhile, Landon was quietly shifting gears behind the scenes, and what came next would change Bonanza forever. Michael Landon didn't just want more lines, he wanted control. He started sneaking his own scripts straight to NBC, skipping every producer and writer in between. And when the network greenlit one of his episodes, he strutted onto the Bonanza set holding that approval letter like it was pure gold. He waved it proudly and smirked, saying, "Looks like they're ready for something new." Lorne Greene froze, just for a second. But that second said everything. He instantly knew what Landon was really announcing. He wasn't just a co-star anymore, he was gunning for creative power. Things heated up fast. Landon began writing more and more episodes, each one leaning toward emotional storylines, deeper feelings, and younger characters taking center stage. Slowly, Bonanza stopped feeling like Greene's show. It started becoming Landon's. Scene by scene, episode by episode, the focus slipped away from Ben Cartwright and shifted toward Little Joe. NBC loved it. They praised every change, every new direction, and Greene had to watch it all unfold in silence. The final straw came in 1972 during the script meeting for the episode Forever. Greene sat at the table flipping through the pages, and his jaw tightened when he realized his own character had been reduced to a side note. Across the table, Landon leaned back confidently and said, "The audience wants a new direction." Greene didn't argue. He didn't raise his voice. He just placed the script on the table, stood up slowly, and walked out. One producer later said, "The silence in that room could have cracked glass." After that moment, the Bonanza set split clean in two. Some followed Landon's creative energy, others still believed Greene was the soul of the show. The media wasted no time. Soon, magazines were calling Landon the new architect of Bonanza, a title that quietly erased the man who built it in the first place. Greene never confronted Landon publicly, never dragged him in interviews, but behind closed doors, he said one of the most heartbreaking lines of his life. "He took nothing from me intentionally, but somehow he took everything." That betrayal hit harder than any enemy ever could. Number 4, Pernell Roberts, the co-star who turned the set into a battlefield. Sitting in the 4th spot on Greene's private list was the only man who ever challenged him to his face, Pernell Roberts. From day one, Roberts saw Bonanza not as a family drama, but as a stage for debate, and Lorne Greene was always standing right in the center of his fire. Their clash first erupted during a tense script meeting in the early 1960s. While most of the cast tried to keep the peace, Roberts leaned back in his chair, lifted the script high, and said in front of the entire crew, "These stories are too clean." The words hung in the air like a slap, and from that day on, the Ponderosa would never feel the same again. "Ben Cartwright isn't a father, he's a fantasy." The whole room froze. Every head turned toward Lorne Greene. He didn't say a word, but the stiff way he sat, the way his jaw locked, said everything. Pernell Roberts had crossed a line, and he knew it. But instead of backing down, Roberts doubled down. He tore into the writing, the tone, and especially Greene's portrayal of Ben Cartwright, the role that had made him a household name. Then came that fiery afternoon in 1963. The cast gathered around the big conference table, tensions already thick in the air. Roberts slammed his script down and snapped, "Adam can't grow because Ben won't let him." Greene stared at him, steady, calm, but with fire behind his eyes. Before answering, Adam chooses family. That's not weakness. Roberts shook his head, stood up, and stormed out, leaving the room in total silence. Even the writers just sat there frozen, but the tension didn't stop at the table. It spread everywhere. Roberts began skipping promo shoots, turning down charity events, and constantly leaving Greene to face reporters alone, forced to defend the show's unity. NBC execs begged Greene to smooth things over, putting him in the awkward position of peacekeeper, something he never wanted to be. The final blow came in 1965, when Roberts gave a scathing interview to the San Francisco Chronicle. His words exploded across Hollywood like wildfire. "I don't believe in Ben Cartwright. He's not real. He's too perfect to respect." For Greene, that wasn't just an insult. It was a knife to the heart. This wasn't about a script anymore. It was an attack on the very character he had built with years of discipline, warmth, and depth. From that moment on, Greene never forgave Roberts, and that wound never healed. Number 5. Guy Williams, the final name on Greene's list, and the man who tested his patience like no one else ever did. Reaching the last spot doesn't make this story any less explosive. If anything, it's the one that finally broke Greene's legendary composure. Guy Williams earned his place for one specific reason. He was the only man who pushed Lorne Greene so far that the calm, commanding father of Bonanza actually walked off his own set, not out of rage or arrogance, but out of pure disbelief that someone could disrespect the Ponderosa that deeply. It all started in late 1967 when Williams arrived for his guest role. Most actors came in quietly, slipping onto the lot without fuss. Not him. Williams rolled up in a shiny convertible, cameras flashing everywhere. A whole mini red carpet moment for a guest appearance. Crew members whispered, "He thinks he's filming Zorro again." From a distance, Greene watched the circus unfold, his jaw tightening. On Bonanza, there was one unspoken rule everyone respected: honor the work, not the spotlight. But Williams clearly didn't get the memo. Then came the chaos on set, take after take, retake after retake. Williams demanded more and more shots, not to improve the scene, but to feed his vanity. He kept asking for new angles, better lighting, even repositioning Greene himself so his own profile wouldn't be blocked on camera. For everyone watching, it was unbelievable. But for Lorne Greene, it was personal. The Ponderosa had always run on discipline, respect, and teamwork, and Guy Williams shattered that in one afternoon. It all came to a head during one tense shoot. The cameras were rolling when Guy Williams suddenly threw up his hand and barked, "We'll redo it. My character leads this moment, not Ben Cartwright." The entire crew froze. Lorne Greene didn't argue. He didn't even blink. But the icy stare he gave Williams was enough to drain the air right out of the room. You could feel the tension hanging heavy. Nobody dared to move. Then came the breaking point a few days later. It was supposed to be a quick two-line exchange, nothing complicated. But halfway through the take, Williams stopped everything, raised his hand, and announced loud enough for the whole set to hear, "Stop, this doesn't showcase me properly." The silence that followed was electric. No one even breathed. Greene slowly turned toward him, calm as ever, but there was fire behind that look. Without a single word, he took off his hat, placed it gently on the table, and walked right off the set. Total shock. The crew just stood there, stunned, watching the man who was the heart of Bonanza leave in complete silence. Production was shut down for the entire afternoon. NBC execs rushed to control the fallout, while Williams tried to brush it off like it was nothing. But everyone on set knew the truth. Williams hadn't just bruised Greene's ego. He'd trampled on his principles. Later, Greene summed it up in one chilling line people never forgot. "Some people don't break the rules, they break the room." And that's exactly what Guy Williams did. When the dust finally settled, Bonanza was no longer the same. And neither was Lorne Greene. Behind his calm voice and wise smile, the man who once held the West together was quietly carrying the weight of years filled with betrayal, silence, and heartbreak. Every feud, every insult, every crack in the Ponderosa's foundation had left its mark. From John Wayne's public humiliation to Clint Eastwood's cold redefinition of what a cowboy should be, from Michael Landon's power grab that pushed him out of the spotlight to Pernell Roberts' brutal words that shredded his pride, and finally, Guy Williams' arrogance that made him walk off his own set. It all added up to a quiet storm Greene never fully escaped. By the late 1970s, Bonanza had ended and Hollywood had moved on. But those who really knew Lorne said he never stopped being Ben Cartwright, not on camera, not even off. He still carried that sense of duty, the same unshakable calm, but with a sadness that wasn't there before. The man who taught millions what honor looked like had learned how fragile it could be behind the scenes. People close to him recalled moments when Greene would glance at old Bonanza scripts, smile faintly and whisper, "We built something real." Even after all the backstabbing and bruised pride, he never badmouthed his co-stars in public, not once. That was the kind of discipline and grace that made him unforgettable. But make no mistake, those feuds left scars. He might not have thrown punches, but the emotional hits were just as real. Hollywood saw Lorne Greene as the picture of control, but those who worked closest to him said there were days his silence spoke louder than any argument ever could, especially when people brought up the ones who'd hurt him most. When he filmed his later projects, Greene carried himself with that same steady energy, but with a touch more distance, as if part of him had already ridden off into the sunset. Yet, through all the hurt, he stayed loyal to what Bonanza stood for: family, respect, and decency, even when the real world didn't play fair. And that's what makes his story hit so deep. Behind the polished Western image was a man who fought private wars no one ever saw, not with guns or fists, but with silence, patience, and pride. He never exploded, never sought revenge, never chased drama. He simply endured. In the end, Lorne Greene's legacy wasn't just about the cowboy who tamed the frontier. It was about the man who stayed true when others lost their way. The one who proved that real strength isn't about shouting the loudest. It's about knowing when to walk away. So, the next time you see Ben Cartwright riding across that golden landscape, remember, that calm look in his eyes wasn't just acting. It was the quiet power of a man who'd seen the best and worst of Hollywood and still stood tall. If you loved uncovering the hidden truth behind Bonanza's biggest off-screen battles, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for more stories just like this. Your support keeps these Hollywood secrets alive. And trust me, there's plenty more drama waiting to be told. See you in the next video.